Within the gaming industry, there's a very popular subsect of titles that fall into what you term the God genre. Games such as Black and White, Spore, and From Dust all posit the player as some sort of all-powerful being that is tasked with helping shape the very world or universe for the betterment of others. Now, these experiences are often brilliant fun as they allow for creativity to shine through. Each player will have a different take on the needs of their people, so it's very common for every would-be almighty to have a different experience. However, we're not discussing these titles today, and if anything, we're focusing on games that are just one rung below. For instead, we want to look at times where you had god-like powers, abilities, or strengths that were way beyond the bounds of humanity that allowed you to obliterate your enemies, escape deadly situations, or even warp reality itself. This is less about answering prayers and sitting on clouds and more about your foes praying that you don't see them with this powered-up state and punch them right through the ozone layer. We might not be merciful, but goddamn are we mighty. So with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video games that gave you godlike powers. Oh, and for an extra challenge, I'm going to avoid using superhero video games. Number 10, God Hand. With a title like God Hand, I think the clue's in the name when it comes to what type of power that this title doles out to the player. Here our hero Gene has a destructive force unlike anything else surging right under his fingertips as he is blessed with the God Hand, which is basically a right hook that could level a mountain. Seeking to use this immense power for themselves, a group of demons is looking to extract it, leading Gene and his allies into a struggle between good and evil. If all of this sounds epic and po-faced, then don't worry, because this game was actually supervised by Shinji Mikami of Resident Evil, Devil May Cry and Vanquish fame, so it is entirely made up of truly bonkers moments. At certain points, Gene will be able to unleash the power of the God Hand, and hoo boy, you do not want to be in the area when he goes hunting, because not only is your speed and damage resistance buffed, but now you can absolutely wail on enemies until they are red mist. It is not an elegant power, but my lord is it an effective one. Number 9, Saints Row 4. The Saints Row series has always been about wish fulfillment. From its humble beginnings as a tongue partially in cheek clone of Grand Theft Auto, the franchise has spiraled out of control to become one of the most bombastic and, more importantly, self-aware series on the market. And there's no better example of a game that lets the player truly feel empowered than Saints Row 4, which not only sees you as the head honcho of the Saints gang, not only are you the president of the bloody United States, but thanks to an alien invasion, you now have a digitally constructed playground in which to cause utter chaos. In this virtual world, you're kind of like the train man from The Matrix, all dialed up to 11, as down here, you're God. Being able to run at super speeds, leap into the air and glide, and even rain down fury from the skies as you slam back down. This, coupled with the open world madness inherent in all Saints Row games, means that you'll never be short of bad guys to deck and vehicles to destroy. It's kind of like a kid playing in a sandbox with action figures, and there isn't anything wrong with that. Number 8, BIOSHOCK. A man chooses, a slave obeys. These haunting words from Andrew Ryan, a property tycoon and all-around breaker of the great chain, will stay with you long after your encounter with him come the close of BioShock 1. However, maybe it does need a little addendum. A man chooses, a slave obeys, a demigod with the ability to shoot lightning fire bees from their hands and brainwash people, well, they can do whatever the hell that they want. Across all of the BioShock series, there has been a not-so-subtle message about how absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yet when you're striding around the watery depths throwing bins at people with nothing but your brain, it's easy to forget this, as it's just way too damn fun. By splicing your genes and drinking some beverages that I bet you taste worse than milk in wine, you gain powers that surface dwellers can only dream of, making it very easy to see why people got hooked on the stuff. In fact, it's actually impressive Rapture stayed alive for as long as it did when you consider the raw power that some of its populace were sold like they were sweets. Number 7, Gravity Rush. Who doesn't dream of the ability to fly, to slip the grasp of gravity and soar amongst the clouds? It's definitely been one of the most romanticized superpowers in all of history, even despite you likely getting a mouthful of bugs for your trouble. Now, a lot of games have dealt with flying characters, but very few have focused on flying through the inversion and manipulation of gravity itself. Gravity Rush, however, is one such game, and this title and its sequel are true wonders of creative world traversal. So Kat doesn't so much fly as she, falls from the ground up, making for some truly impressive and mind-bending moments. And it's quite hilarious to see NPCs get swept up in her gravitational pull and taken along for the ride, although I doubt that they find it funny to be launched across a city. The player can even use gravity as a weapon, raising Kat up and then drop-kicking her back down onto enemies like a rocket-propelled Super Mario. It's incredible fun indeed. Number 6. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. One Punch Man has quickly become one of the most hotly debated animes in recent memory. Its premise is ludicrously simple, that being of a man named Saitama who has trained so much that he's, basically become invincible and is able to kill every foe he meets in a single punch. This, as you might expect, has caused him to become a little disassociated from reality, as no one has ever even come close to pushing him to his limits. And eyebrows were certainly raised when he was announced to be a playable character in One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Would he retain that ungodly power? Well, yeah. With a single button press, you can eliminate all foes from the battle with ease, and not even take a single bit of damage from them either. The only caveat to making him show up is that he's always late to the battle, and you have a timer indicating how close he is to joining in. However, once he steps in, your opponent might as well give up there and then. Oh, and before you have a go at me about Saitama being a superhero, just remember, he gained all of his powers through just strength training alone. He's technically human, and there's nothing really special apart from the fact that he is incredibly bold. He puts me to shame. But still, a superhero, but not in the most traditional sense. Number 5. SCRIBBLENAUTS. Oh me, oh my, what an incredible game SCRIBBLENAUTS is. Now I can imagine that when this title was first pitched, those developing it probably laughed their asses off before stopping and then crying when they realized that it was actually going ahead, because the sheer amount of stuff in this game that they had to conjure up, it's quite ludicrous. SCRIBBLENAUTS is a puzzle-solving game limited only by your imagination, and also what dictionary the developers had to hand at the time, because you can spawn in countless objects to help Maxwell achieve his goals. However, the ability to summon in nearly anything complete with a hands-off approach to guiding the player is basically a tinderbox just waiting to be lit, because you can produce some absolutely bananas situations. For example, say that there's a man who's hungry and needs food. You could just rustle up a pie for him and you know what, job's done. However, why not summon in a zombie to bite the man and turn him into a zombie as well? Then summon in a baby and have him eat the baby. Yeah, maybe we should give these powers back immediately. Number 4. Prince of Persia franchise. The ability to rewind time and have another crack at mistakes you've made is surely one of the most sought-after superpowers we all wish that we could use. Imagine the ability to simply test out a situation, realize that it's not for you, and then get a free do-over. Or even better, eat a huge pizza, then rewind time and eat it all again. I am a simple man. The prince from the Prince of Persia series, however, he's not so simple, as his day-to-day involves having to manipulate time itself in order to save the realm from all manner of evil. Therefore, it's a good thing that he has this ability, as some of the parkour platforming sections are extremely challenging, as are some of the battles that he'll have to face. However, with the power to shape his own destiny however he sees fit, there's never really a challenge that will get him down for long. In fact, because of this skill, you might rightly consider him to be one of the most powerful video game characters ever. After all, how can you beat someone if they just rewind all of your actions and learn how to defeat you? Number 3. The Dynasty Warriors franchise. Sometimes strength alone is all the power you need to be considered a god by other people, and it's this skill that each of the legendary fighters in the Dynasty Warriors franchise has in spades. Simply trying to pick up one of these oversized and ludicrous weapons that these figures choose to wield would have us throwing out our bloody backs, but then being able to use them to rack up a KO count in the thousands? Well, yeah, you can see why the regular enemies circle around them in fear rather than heading in for the kill, right? I mean, would you want to take on a guy who's smashing your mates into the ground like tent pegs? And these are just the base forms of these warriors, as in games like Dynasty Warriors Strike Force, you become even more OP, infusing warriors with elemental powers or mythical deities, so now you can fly, shoot lightning, or take on huge beasts as if they were common house pests. It's genuinely scary how much damage even the weakest warrior could do, and it makes me positively quake in my boots when I think about the almighty Lu Bu and his rage-infused power. Ugh. Number 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Now, it might seem weird to put a game in which the average life of a player online can be measured in mere seconds, but hear me out. For if you choose the Specialist Strike package once you've unlocked it at level 20, you'll have the ability to become a walking powerhouse unlike anything else. Juggernauts, sit down, because the Specialist perk route means that you forego unlocking kill streaks, and instead, upon killing certain numbers of enemies without dying, you unlock perks instead. Now, we're all aware about how effective even a single perk can be, hence why they're limited choices, so now imagine being able to unlock all of the perks, bar a select few, for killing 8 people without dying. This now means that you're able to move super fast while aiming, shoot with next to no recoil, reload extremely quickly, and destroy enemies behind cover. If you're able to achieve this zen-like state, then you'll be at such an advantage over other players, you might well hear claims of hacks. However, you haven't cheated, you've simply ascended. And number 1, PSYCHONAUTS. Ah, summer camp, all of those nights out under the stars, or fog if you were in England, all of those mountain walks, or trips to Tesco if you were in England, and chatting with your friends by firelight. Skip fires, again, England. What a time to be alive, eh? Well, now imagine all of that, but with superpowers added into the mix. This is what makes the absolutely brilliant Psychonauts so utterly entertaining, as when you take control of Raz, you also gain the option to learn telekinesis, pyrokinesis, levitation, shield, confusion, and more. How the game blends all of these powers into its platforming and puzzle solving creates some truly wonderful moments, with you leaping high over obstacles or rolling around on a bubble of thought using levitation or causing all kinds of chaos with a well-placed confusion grenade. Imagine having access to these powers as a kid, and coupling this with a door that lets you enter other people's minds, you can quite literally shape the thoughts of others by helping them process emotional baggage. Power and the chance to do good and earn a scout badge at the same time? Perfect. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 video games that gave you godlike powers. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, if you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I stream each and every Wednesday, and it would be great to see you over there. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we detailed today about games that gave you godlike powers, there's actually a secret power that we all hold within ourselves that we don't often make use of in the day-to-day, and that is simply being kind to ourselves. You are the hero in your own narrative. You are not a villain, so please do not punish yourself for mistakes of the past. No one's perfect, and we all make them. If you are in a situation to forgive others, then please, I encourage you to do so, because sharing love, spreading it, building bridges instead of burning them is the only way that we're going to move forward as a society. I hope that you are well, treating yourself fairly, both mentally and physically, and that you have a great bloody day, because you are an absolute ledge. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.